have the big compensation packages that the big media companies have. So, you know, I have to walk a fine line between selling somebody on, you know, joining our company, and you can make lots of money, and there's no roof. You can make a ton of money, but there's, you know, the majority of work is up front for no compensation, where there's the least amount of work at the end for the most compensation, and that is a sales job.
Right.
And,
it also sounds like entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there are so many challenges in launching a new radio station, but I mean, for me, that's probably one of the biggest, because there's a turnover of staff, because salespeople, we're the kind of organization that is performance-based. So show us what you can do and you can make a ton of money. I mean, that was like me. I got a $500 draw against my commission to go out there and sell. That was what my compensation was. Right. And in my first year of sales, I doubled what I made as a flight attendant. And by the third year, I was paying in taxes what I made as a flight attendant. So, but I mean, a lot of people can't afford to do that. Yeah. Like, I just, you know, didn't eat. Like there are things that
and starvation is a great motivator.
It really is. It really heat's a really good motivator. Yeah. So I mean, there are a lot of challenges. I would say that's one of the biggest.
By the way, our format is that you can jump into the discussion at any point in time. If you have something that you want to ask Kai, get her opinion on, please just kind of nod, raise your hand at any point during the conversation, and we'll bring you in. We don't wait until the end to have those discussion points raised. Flontrepreneur. Tell us about how you got the idea and where you took that magazine.
Well, so this is interesting because it was almost a lifelong dream to launch a magazine. My husband calls me a magazine whore. I love magazines, and you know, I just in this digital world, which I'm very, very in touch with tech. Just holding a magazine is like, you know, going into chapters is like going into a shoe store for me. I just love magazines, and I really wanted to launch a magazine. And then, of course, the cusp of digital came in, and a girlfriend of mine had launched a woman's magazine. She lives in Hamilton, and I saw her hardships, and she had a lot of connections, and she got some great advertising, and I actually helped her get some advertising into that magazine, and she just couldn't cut it. And you know, that was kind of a learning curve for me. Not really a learning curve. I just thought, you know what, this is not for me. Like, this is not the right time to do it. Timing is everything in business, right? You know, no means not now. What might work today might not work tomorrow, and vice versa. And so Flontrepreneur is something I've always believed in. I believe in personal branding. I mean, it's something I did from the beginning, right? With don't give me a bonus, give me an ad, because you're only as good as your last sale. And I thought, as long as I have that ad, that's my resume. Right. That's something that I can go to. I can peddle myself, and I believe that. So
it was the middle of the night.
Middle of the night. Yeah.
You woke up at a dead sleep
in Sydney, Nova Scotia.
Flontrepreneur, that was it.
The name came to me, and I just thought, you know, you're selling yourself. I mean, everybody sells themselves every single day. Yeah. You know, funny, when I was reading to my daughter, my daughter's 10, I started reading to her, and I actually thought I was going to train her from day one to be a salesperson. So what I would do, and this is probably the worst parenting probably advice I could ever give anybody.
By the way, you've succeeded.
Yeah.
Rainey is the consummate salesperson.
Yeah, I have a place in Florida, and the people in the development, I'm a snowbird in a working woman's body, by the way. The people in Naples call her the mayor. She introduces me to all my neighbors. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that she's 10. But she would ask me for something, and I would say no, no, no. And just when I knew she was going to give up, I saw it in her face, I'd say okay. So that's probably like really bad parenting, right? Because then you could get a child that will continually ask you. I see some of my friends, and they say, I said no. And they go, okay. But I thought, if I can if you can harness that child's energy until they're like 18, then they're golden. So I figure I'll put up with it. I'll put up with the please, mommy, please, come on. Or she'll ask me a different way. It's so interesting. But
that's why 2-year-olds make the best salespeople.
They do.
Mommy, can I have a cookie? No. Can I have a cookie now? No. Can I have a cookie now? No. Yeah. Can I have a cookie later? No. Yeah. They just never take no for an answer.
Dr. Seuss, that book is like truly it's probably my first sales book I've ever read, right? I mean, please can I have some
I've
green
never
eggs and
heard
ham?
Dr. Zeus.
Yeah, can I
termed
have
as a
green eggs
sales
and
book.
ham? Can I have it on a plane? Can I have it? Like it's and finally they taste the green eggs and ham, and it's like, oh, it's not that good.
So put that on your reading list, all you salespeople. Dr. Zeus, Green Eggs and
Green Eggs and Ham, best sales book ever written.
And so you don't have enough to do, so now you decide to start an online shopping company. It's now called Wanster, but take us back to the original name, and what was the impetus behind that?
Well, in my company, I think because I have helped build the company to the point where it is today, I have a very good relationship with my CEO, who is also a partner in 4 radio stations. So there are 2 in Halifax, 1 in Ottawa, 1 in Hawkesbury that I share ownership with. He's been really, really good to me. And I used to say to people would say, oh God, he loves you. And I'd say, I know, he sees me as a $. That's why he loves me. I really used to say that. But over the years, actually, our relationship has really become one of friendship, and he is probably my number 1 mentor. He walks the line of genius and insanity, which most entrepreneurs do, and I say that with the utmost respect. He will do things that is absolutely crazy, and I thought to myself, how can I use these radio stations, these megaphones, to build my wealth? Aside from the ownership aspect, I thought, there's got to be something I can do. There's got to be something I can do, and then that doesn't take my time up during the day because, of course, I'm really, really busy running the company. And so I thought, hey, if I can do something online, that would make sense because it can run itself, and I'm a big believer in recurring revenue and all that kind of stuff. So I thought e-commerce, and then it hit me one day. So I'm lying in bed, and I just built this house, and there's a mantelpiece, and there's one lonely candlestick holder on the mantelpiece. And my husband from the bathroom says, oh, by the way, my mother wants to know what you want for Christmas. And I'm lying in bed, and I'm looking at this lonely candlestick from Pottery Barn, and I thought, it would be really nice to have another one. And so I said, And then I thought to myself, it would be great if I could take a picture of it and send it to her and tell her where I bought it, so that she could buy the same one from Pottery Barn. And that was the impetus for, at the time, Tiggity. Tiggity spelled backwards is I dig it. So I built this social media site that basically allows anybody to take a picture of something and instantly load it into at the time, a list. So you could tick off I dig it or I want it. And then 10 months later, I was at a Christmas party, and this friend of mine says, oh God, Tiggity, it's so much like this new website I heard of called Pinterest. And I thought,
somebody's done it.
Bastards, like somebody took my idea. So I thought, oh my God. And my cousin, who is working for a humongous firm in San Francisco, built the back-end analytics for me. So when we went into the analytics, I have a partner, we went into the analytics, and it showed that like 97% of the people that posted things actually posted wants and not likes. So I thought, okay, well, since there's Pinterest, and that's just a board of everything you like, from Sandra Bullock's hair to the cereal you eat, I thought, okay, let's actually be smart about this, and let's really capture e-commerce and post all the things that you want. So it's this amazing social media site that allows people to surf the internet, and literally you can just click on, I don't know, I'm on Future Shop, click on a TV, pull that into your want list, create any kind of category of want list you want, so you can send it to people. You can share it, and it's great, and it makes money while I'm sleeping. So that was and I used the radio stations to promote it. That's how I launched Wanster.
Now, was that you negotiated a 4-day work week at one time?
I tried.
Oh, that didn't work out?
He said, if anyone's going to take a sabbatical, Kai, it's going to be me. So, yeah.
So you were doing this when you were working on Wanster
from 9 till 1.
From 9 until 1.
Yeah, generally.
And then what did you do from 1 till 5? Oh, you slept. That's where you were trying to sleep there.
Yeah.
What's been the big challenge with Wanster? Because there's so many social media sites out there. There's so many shopping sites that could be construed as a competitor to Wanster. So what's been the big challenge getting that off the ground? And you said just before we came up here, you think it's finally gone over the tipping point.
Well, it won't have gone over the tipping point until I'm lying on a beach with a pina colada in my hand. But It's never over till the fat lady sings. I've never gone for financing, so I went to this big VC firm and got an appointment, and I was sitting on the 31st floor, overlooking Lake Ontario, and this guy comes in and he talks to me for 2 hours, and I had no idea how to read it, and then that night I got a letter of intent to buy Wanster, which was really interesting to me, and I thought, oh my God, this is fantastic. And in the 11th hour, we negotiated a really phenomenal, it would have been that would have really been a success story. But at the 11th hour, the deal fell through. This CEO had done too many acquisitions, and the board just said, you got to start making money with your acquisitions before you acquire this. So I keep in touch with him, and I hope to sell it to him for more now. But the challenge is that I have a full-time and a half job every day, and I can't focus. I can't put a lot of attention onto Wanster. So I do have a partner, and I do have a network of people that are helping to build it. And I find actually that, and everybody can relate to this, the more people you meet, the more networks you make. And through radio, I have so many networks, and I meet so many new people every day. Mm-hmm. That helps me with Wanster.
Right. Yes. Oh.
So I'm lost between TV and Wanster.
Oh, so what happened? Sorry, thank you. So because the analytics show that people wanted things as opposed to liked things, we changed the name to Wanster. We thought, let's call it what it is. So, and then people got it. People understood that.
Maria.
What do you think is your biggest challenge for 2015 and biggest opportunity?
Wow, that's a great
Big
question.
challenge, big opportunity for 2015.
Well, okay, the biggest challenge is to get my husband to stop snoring. That's not true, actually. We make a good couple because I go into a coma when I finally do go to sleep, so actually it doesn't bother me at all.
My first wife just got a new husband. That's what she did. I didn't have to do a thing.
That's great.
There's an app.
There you go.
There's an app for that.
There you go. That's a big idea. The biggest opportunity, I'm quite spiritual and in a crazy way. And on January 1st every year, I sit with my hit list, and I have hit lists for everything. Here's the things that I have to do. If I don't write it down, chances are it won't get done. So here's the things I want to accomplish this year. And I've done it probably since I was a teenager. And I've accomplished everything so far that I've wanted to accomplish. The magazine was one that I didn't accomplish, but I actually chose not to take that route, so therefore that doesn't really count. The biggest opportunity, there are opportunities every day that come up, and it just depends on what opportunities you want to jump on and not jump on. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know what the biggest opportunity is this year. In radio, in the onset of digital, we don't know when the digital dash, when internet comes in the car, we don't know what that's going to mean. We think we know what it's going to mean for radio. The CRTC has to protect broadcasters, not so much our little independent company, but the big, the Bells and the Choruses and the Kojikos of the world. So that's a big challenge for us on the broadcast side, and probably the biggest opportunity. Our sales have gone up. So if anything, we haven't been affected by it, but we've had to be a lot more creative. We've had to, I have sales programs upon sales programs. I interviewed a gentleman just the other day for a sales management position, and I said, you've lost sales for your radio station, so tell me what you're doing to generate revenue. And the answer, he gave me one answer, and I was just like, that's all you are going to fail. You really, we have to be way more creative today to get new clients and to keep old clients.
But in particular, in the broadcasting business, we're both challenged with new ways to come up with revenue, because the old advertising style revenue is waning when you've got a lot of free services out there. There's a lot of free music services out there. There's pay-in services now. So where do you see radio stations like the group of stations that Evanov has? Where do you see that going in the future? Will they become pay-in models? Will you have to change your revenue model?
I think one reason that radio works so well is because it's free. So satellite, radio costs money, and it's going to cost money to have internet in your car. right? There's data charges. So, and radio has always remained free. So I think that, and also, you get your traffic news and weather, and that's something people want. I know you can get it, on your handheld, but I mean, to look at traffic and drive at the same time, that's not really the smartest thing to do. So I think that's important for people. And then personalities are very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And because you didn't have enough to do, you started dabbling in real estate as well. Take us. When did you start doing that? And now you've moved into, I don't know, what house are you in now? What number on the list? Have you lost count yet?
I have lost count. Actually, I have it written down. Luckily, I recorded all of the transactions that I did from the beginning a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So I do have to add a couple.
Because the last house you moved into, you said that was the last house you were going to have.
Oh, my personal house. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it was my dream house. I built a house. So I built a house and I created a builder in my husband. I said, you need to be, when he had hot tub businesses in Mississauga. And
by the way, that's how they met.
Yeah.
He shows up to sell her a hot tub, ends up marrying the woman. That is, that's a story for another show.
That's a dating show.
That's a dating show. But now you're in your new house. When did you start collecting real estate, and why?
I believe, again, this spiritual side of me, that people come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And there was this one man, Wally, God rest his soul, he passed away. I didn't know him well, but he was a cottager at this cottage that I used to go to, and he said, "Kai, real estate," and I said, "What?" Like, he was this older man, and I'm like, "What?" And I used to sit. I remember sitting in a boat with him, and every weekend I would say, "Oh, I hope Wally's there," because I'd pick his brain. He owned, he was like Mr. Caniff. He owned a ton of apartment buildings in all over Toronto. And I was like, how'd you do it? What'd you do? Blah, 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 blah. And he told me, and he said, real estate. So I was about 24 at the time. No, 27. I was 27 at the time. And
so 3 years ago.
So 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
And I was 27 at the time, and it always remained in the back of my mind. And he said, the landlord always wins. He used to always say that. The landlord, if there's a business and, you're not making any money, well, the entrepreneur, the business owner doesn't take the money. They pay their employees, but the landlord always wins. So I've always kept that in the back of my mind. And I thought, again, now tying back into radio, I always thought you're only as good as your last sale. So every single cent I made, I'd save it, and it went into real estate. Because I never knew when it was going to end. Like, I always thought, wow, as a sales rep, these commission checks are phenomenal. Like, I never made so much money in my life. So I would just, every time I'd get a commission check, I'd buy a condo. I swear to God. I'd put a down, like in those days, right, condos were like $110,000. And so I'd put a down payment down on a condo. And as a single female that doesn't know how to fix anything and doesn't have the time, I thought condos were my safest bet. I didn't have to repair a roof. All I had to do was get them occupied. And so I just bought a ton of condos, and then they went up, in value, and I sold a bunch, and then, I learned along the way the speculation that the condo market was going to crash. Oh my God, get rid of them all. So there's also a strategy in getting rid of them and not paying capital gains, but you'll have to buy my book when I retire. but in any case, and so, went from condos to apartment buildings to, my husband's a home builder now, and he built our first house. It was my dream home, and then, after 6 years, we made a lot of money from it, and I thought, it would be fun to decorate another house, so we just built another house.
Do I remember correctly? Somebody just came up to the door and wanted to buy your house.
It wasn't that easy, but yeah. Actually, it really wasn't that easy. What happened was we had bought a spec property that we were trying to sell, and it didn't sell. And I thought, hey, why don't we list both, and whichever sells first, that's the path we'll take. And we listed our house, and somebody came up and said, actually from a sign on our property, and said, I want to buy your house. So I thought, I guess we're moving.
Was it tough to let go? That was a beautiful, beautiful home.
It was tough to let go. But, onwards and upwards.
What's the big challenge for you today? Is it time? Because you're really busy at Evanov. I know Bill puts more and more faith in you running the operation on a day-to-day basis. You've got Wanster going. entrepreneurs out there. You've got the real estate stuff going on, and you've got a 10-year-old daughter, and some way you have to fit Damien. Damien's her husband. Damien in there somewhere along the way. Is it time? Is that the challenge, or how do you manage that day? How do you manage your time